Hello, I'm the Bear Bow Brummy, and welcome to part 2 of buying your first bow. In the first part, we went through the types of bow which are available to you and the types of archery styles that you can shoot with whatever bow you happen to choose. So let's talk now about actually the process of buying a bow. Let's start with online shopping first. I don't like online shopping specifically for your first bow. The very good reasons that I have are that, firstly, being a new archery, looking for your new archery, you don't really know what to buy. All of it looks nice and shiny and good equipment, but you're never quite sure you're making the right decision. There's nobody there to give you any kind of advice at all to make sure you're making the right purchase for you. So you could be wasting all your money buying something that's not suitable for you. As well as that, there can be quality issues because you can't actually physically see the bow, pick it up, feel it, play with it. That it's quite possible with an online purchase you might not get what you thought you were going to get. The quality might not be as good as you thought it was going to be, and then you have the issue of having to return it and trying to get your money back, which can be a real pain. Whereas with a shop, you don't have that issue. You can actually play with the thing and look at it properly. Now, it's fine if you want to look at stuff online and see what's available to you, right? But I would suggest don't buy one online. Do that in person at an archery shop with professional people that know what they're talking about. I mean, it's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's fine to buy your archery equipment online once you know exactly what you're looking for. With a little bit of experience, you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what you need, and it's fine to buy stuff online. But if you don't know what you're looking at, don't really know what you're doing at the early stages, then I would avoid buying things online. Okay, so let's talk about actually going to an archery store to choose your bow. What generally happens these days, and it's been a thing since COVID, that you phone your archery store up and they'll give you a 1 hour appointment. You have a salesman there for you who will set up the bow for you, go through all of your options for you, and you'll have him for a whole hour. Make the very most of that. But be guided by the staff, because yes, they are trying to sell you something. They are salespeople at the end of the day, but they are trying to do it for your best interest to make sure you get the best for your money, bearing in mind whatever your budget happens to be. But have an idea of what you want before you go to the store. Certainly have a look at their website, have a look what they've got available to you in your price range, but be flexible about it. Sometimes you'll see a bow on their online page, and then when you go and actually have a look at the bow in person, it's not as nice as you thought it was, and you might want to choose something else. So have 2 or 3 different options if you need to, and as I say, be guided by the staff. Now, if some of you live a long way away from your local archery store, please don't be put off by that. Make a day of it. My archery store of choice is a 100-mile round trip, and I go there fairly regularly because it's well worth the effort. You meet some nice, like-minded people. Yes, they're trying to sell you things, but it's always a pleasant experience to do. So please book your appointments at the shop and do it that way. Okay, so if you're going to buy a longbow or a flat bow, there's some things you need to remember. If you're buying a bow like this or a bow like this, they come in specific poundages. It is very important that you make the right choice of poundage for one of these bows, because the poundage can't be changed. And if you buy a bow that's too low a poundage, you'll be fine with it for a little bit, but within 6 months or so, I absolutely guarantee you'll want to move up in poundage. That bow isn't strong enough for what you want, and you'll want to change it. And I can tell you something quite clearly now, the second-hand value of these is pretty poor, and your only option is to buy another bow. So do not please be very careful in choosing a bow that's too light a poundage that you grow out of pretty quickly. On the other end of the scale, be careful you don't buy a bow that's too strong a poundage, because what will happen with the bow that's too strong a poundage for you is you won't be able to pull it to full draw. Certainly not for a very, very long time. You could even hurt yourself if you got a bow that's much, much too strong for you. But your issue is you won't be able to full draw with a bow that's of too strong a poundage. And trust me, there's nothing that ruins your archery faster than being overbowed. So be very careful and choose carefully the poundage of the longbow or the flat bow you require. Now, when we're talking about recurve bows, it's a slightly different approach. If you're buying a bow like one of these two, then you don't have to worry too much if you've chosen a bow that's too light a poundage. Remember that with these, the limbs are interchangeable, and so you can work your way up in poundage just by replacing the limbs. So that makes it a little bit more economical. This type of bow, with the bolts here and here, there is a small issue with it. These are more economical. This one is 150 to 200 pounds you'll pay for one of these. But the limbs themselves are only replaceable by limbs from the same manufacturer. And I find that they are quite limited in this type of limb. They're laminated wood. They're not bad. This one is £34 and it's right at the top end. You can't buy any stronger limbs than the £34 that I've got on it. To let you into a little secret, this was my very first bow. And to be honest with you, I don't think I should have bought this. I should have gone with an ILF riser like that one. But I still quite like it. I still keep it. So now, and I shoot it fairly regularly. But as I say, the limitations are there's a limited poundage range in these type of limbs, and that's the issue with them. But the price dictates that you'll only pay 30 or 40 pounds for one of these limbs. For a pair of these limbs, you don't get one, you get two for a pair of these limbs. But you can only go to a certain extent, which is why eventually I moved to one of these. This wasn't my next one. I've had 4 or 5 since this one. And in my opinion, this type of bow and this type of riser is by far your best option. It has ILF fittings in it, which is international limb fittings, if you know what that means. All it means is it was a protocol that all bow manufacturers signed up to, which means that you can buy almost any manufacturer of limbs and fit it to any riser as long as they have ILF fittings. So you can swap and change. Your choices are enormous, and it's adjustable in every single direction. It's adjustable in that direction and in that direction that way. I think I said that earlier. And my advice to new people is always, when you first start, because you'll move up in poundage quite quickly, I advise them to buy a good quality riser. Spend as much money as they feel they need to on a riser, because if you buy a good quality riser, it will last you years. And if you like it, like I really love this one, then you can stay with it forever. All you need to do is keep replacing the limbs as you move up. If you want newer, better, nicer looking ones, you can keep doing that, but keep the riser as it is. It's the best option. When you're brand new, do not buy high-end limbs. These limbs are very expensive, and I would never suggest a first-time archer buys this type of limb. You can buy much cheaper ones, which are still ILF fittings, but you can buy them much, much cheaper, because what will happen over time, you'll want to go up in poundage, you want to change them. And if you've only gone cheap on the limbs, then you can keep replacing them. It's not costing you too much money. You can always find somebody at your club or at your archery range who's looking for a set of limbs. So you could probably sell on your old ones, not lose too much money. You will lose some, but you can move up in poundage as you go, keeping your riser, changing your limbs until you eventually reach the point where you've reached what is your optimum poundage weight. And then is the time, if you feel you can, go and buy yourself some high quality limbs. That's the best way to do it. For most people, I find the most important decision they make during the whole of the archery bow buying process is get the right colour. I'm not sure that colour does not make a difference one little bit to how you shoot your archery, but it does make a difference because you have to look at this thing all the time. Get one in a really nice colour that you really like, and there you go. That is my opinion on buying your bow. So anyway, I hope that helps. I've been the Bear Bow Brummie. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.